actually fix it.
Not at all. You got to keep this in mind, right? Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? The state took a $10 billion surplus for NYCHA and never returned it. I mean, and this is one of the reasons why public housing throughout the nation was it was used for, for their personal, meal ticket, but nothing was translating back to the people. This is one of the reasons why they now implemented RAD. You know what I mean? And New York is the last stop on RAD.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine.
Of the Publisher's Desk. And I'm Damon K. Jones, the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine. And this is powered by blackwestchester.com. And today's guest, we have Alpheaus Marcus, joins us as a lifelong Harlem advocate and a man who has turned lived experience into action. As a founder of Advocates for the Community, A.M.X. Consultants, and the Urban Nonpartisan Club, Inc., he has dedicated his work to addressing the real issues impacting Black communities throughout New York City, from gun violence and unsafe housing to education inequality. So let's bring our brother on, a friend of the show, Alpheaus Marcus. What's up, brother? How are you doing today? How you doing, man? Glad to have you on, man. Glad to have you on, man.
Glad to be here.
We just trying to hear at Black Westchester, man. We just trying to give different voices. We're trying to break out of the echo chamber of what we see today. And you fighting in Harlem, man. Like, I'm gonna start off from the beginning, man. Because you've been out in Harlem. What is the biggest issue facing communities like Harlem right now that the leaders are avoiding, and why do you think it's so?
Well, let me first say, when I originally started in Harlem, right? I think it was like 2014, and it was a group, of upcoming leaders. But the problem was they wasn't willing to more or less come together. Everybody wanted to be the man or the woman, because they was chasing a bag. Right. So what I ended up doing was I started going throughout the city, and I teamed up first with Tony Herbert, right? Mm-hmm. We got
big shout outs to Tony Herbert.
Yeah, we did a lot of work, me and him, Bishop Maldonado. We brought a lot of attention to NYCHA, right? Back then, we took the press through all 302 developments. They end up getting a federal monitor. I sat with the federal monitor to get, the residents the repairs necessary. We literally did gun violence, countless gun violence, with the press, helped a lot of families. And some of the things that came out was a lot of elected officials wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing for the community. Mm-hmm. So we was putting pressure on a lot of these elected officials, and the crazy thing about it was Tony at the time, he was real aggressive. So they didn't really want to deal with him. Right. But They would sit with me because I was more reserved about some of the things. So it started from there and it just carried on.
Okay.
Our communities, from what I've seen, it's hard because they're more visual and they're basically following behind individuals who really doesn't have, their agendas at heart.
Right. In your work in police violence and improving police and community relationships, what have you seen that worked, and what have you seen that they was doing that didn't work?
Well, back, like I said, 2014, 2015, I sat with a lot of the top brass in the NYPD, and we came up with, community relationship, about it. Because one of the things that they were saying was, y'all live in a community where y'all killing each other. Y'all close enough to be family. So we want to make it home, Right. And as I explained to them, systemically, we've always had agitators, provocateurs, like the Al Sharptons and everything else that would talk about it, but they wouldn't come to the table with something tangible, to try and, bring some type of middle. you know. So we did that, you know. One of the sad parts about both of those programs, they didn't want to pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But every
Yeah.
time it was a problem,
well, exactly.
yeah. But every time it was a problem, they would call me, you know, and I would mediate between, you know, the communities, and that way they get understanding what the problem is.
Right.
And
Right.
I give some praises to Darcel Clark finally, because she finally got a conviction. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she was willing to do what was necessary to get the conviction. I guess she
Right.
didn't want to see me, you know, pounding the press anymore.
Right. No, man. Listen, you know the work, man. Sometimes you have to force them to do right, you know, and it's unfortunate, right? You know, you really have to force elected officials, you know, to do right. You got to put the pressure on them, because if you don't, you know, they're just going to let it slide. It's really it's an unfortunate situation, but I've been through that. I've been through that myself. Now you mentioned now you in Harlem, man. Like, that's the headquarters in the National Action Network. I'm not throwing no shade, but what kind of, you know, effect have you seen as a resident of them being in Harlem?
Nothing really. You know, he get the elderly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That you know, they remember the civil rights movement,
Right.
but they don't really actually understand how the civil rights movement was really effectuated. They don't understand that part, but they just, you know, they listen to him talk. He's a great orator. He know how to win you over. But
Right.
there's nothing, absolutely nothing coming from it.
Really? That's
Nothing.
you know, that's very important, man, because I've been critical of all of them. National Action Network, NAACP, you know, the Urban League, you know, and more so pushing a political agenda than a civil rights activist agenda,
Right.
you know, for the community, you know. And I watched a little bit of the NAN, and I was just totally disappointed in what I saw, you know, in the conference this year, you know. But speaking of conferences, you know, when the Black Caucus,
Yeah.
you know, they treated Mandami like he was Jesus, you know, and Al Sharpton and a lot of Black politicians have treated Mandami like he was Jesus.
Yeah.
From somebody that lives down there and has to deal with his policies directly. What are you seeing?
First, let me say this here, right? A lot of them interfered with me sitting down with them.
Really?
Just like with all elected officials, all commissioners, you know, one of the things that I want them to know is how is the Black community going to benefit from you being in office?
Exactly.
You know, and you know, he ducked it. Like a lot of people in his party, you know, they more or less like circumvented the process, because I had a lot of state assemblies that served with him up there in Albany that knew the work I did, had told me, yo, sit with him. Like, he's really doing the work, sit with him. And, you know, it never materialized.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You know, they tried to sell me on some of the things he was talking about. And like I told him, I said, this here, like, is not feasible. Certain things that he's talking about, he can't implement as a mayor. He should have stayed in the assembly for this.
Right.
You know, I'm still waiting to see what's what, you know, because like I told his team, I said, should he do anything that's not, you know, that I feel is not feasible for the community, I have no problem with, you know, taking it to the press and blasting.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, he's getting
so
a
far, I
lot
haven't
of
seen
heat.
nothing.
He's getting a lot of heat from the homeowners, man. And I don't know if that's a tactic, you know, or if it's real, you know, to raise the property taxes 9%. Because if you do that, then the rents, I mean, you know,
The rents are gonna go crazy.
Exactly.
Because this and I, believe it or not, I broke that down to, you know, at the time his guy was a guy named Kyle Ishmael, right? One of the things I said to him, like, he would have to raise taxes to do this, and an unfortunate thing, the only tax he would be able to push would be for property taxes, where blacks is already disproportionately affected. Even single home families is affected by this because they pay the same amount as those that own, multiple dwellings.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like everybody thought about the freeness, the free. They never seen the reality.
Man.
Nobody had the common sense to say, wait a minute, you can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
One of the things I was pushing for everybody, I said, yo, vote Eric back in and make them earn your votes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because with that, you get to see who's for real, as opposed to who's playing on who.
Right.
I was kind of upset with Eric the way he handled his re-election.
Well, I've known Eric for years.
Yeah.
And I'm on the record that I was upset on who he had around him when he became mayor. You laughing, brother, because I knew them Negroes.
Look,
I was like, man, I was like, what?
Look, I know Eric. Trust me, tell you. Yo, you gotta keep this in mind, right? He would have never been in the problem he was in if his ego wasn't in the way.
That's number one. Absolutely.
He wanted to run for president. He literally had in his mind he can run for president. And the DNC told him, we're not running any primaries. Fall back. We're not running any primaries.
Right.
And one of the things that I tried to explain to him, I said, yo, listen, New York is going to get these migrants. It's just a matter of time, because even like 2017 with Jemani and all them talking about, we got to save the migrants and you could bring them here. And I was like, that's not something that you really want.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Did y'all look at states like Florida and Texas where they have an influx in this and how, the economic destabilization? Like, y'all not thinking. I said, what are y'all going to do if they send them here? And none of them wanted to believe that they would send them here. I told Jemani at the time, I told Brad Landers, a host of, local councilman. I said, you need to do a walk through Harlem with me so you can see where they send these same kids that y'all crying about that get torn from their families and see where they send them to. Because we in Harlem, we've had that problem for years.
Wow.
Like when the migrant kids come out to the parks, none of the locals go into the park while they there.
Really?
Yeah, right there on 131st and 130th, right? And Fifth Avenue. Like all the locals gotta leave. You can't congregate with them. So they get the park and then they go back into, what's like a ACS for on a federal level.
Right.
Nobody wanted to come up and see this because they didn't even know. I said, y'all need to be in tune with what's going on.
Exactly.
And then he was like, it wouldn't happen. So I said, all right, you know something? It's hypothetical. So if it happens to happen, just remember this conversation. In 2022, I ran into Jemani downtown. I said, yo, let's have that conversation again, man. Because I wonder what y'all going to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
And a lot of people don't know, like, we got screwed out of it.
Oh.
We got screwed.
New York got hit hard, bro.
Yeah, because majority of the federal budget that was designated for like FEMA, like 362 million was allocated to migrants, and nobody knew this.
No, and I even had a high-ranking, I ain't even gonna say his name on the show, but I even had a high-ranking elected official in Westchester text me because I did an article on that.
Yeah.
And he said, yo, that's not true. I said, dude, it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have to, like, the Democrats wasn't even they didn't want to admit to the reality of what the migrants was doing to the budget and to the spending.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that, man. I really sat back and I thought that was like crazy. I said, this is crazy. And look at all the sanctuary cities now. They're basically underwater, man.
But you know what the problem is? Congress won't change the number of people that they allow into the country.
Yeah.
Right? Every year they only allow 675,000 people legally.
Right.
They tack on an additional 100,000, which may bring it to like 750,000 they allow into the country. But the numbers show anywhere from 2 to 3 million sneaking illegally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, y'all need to raise the number that y'all allow into this country. This way you could, offset some of these ICE policies.
Exactly. That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
That's not what they want to do. They don't want to do that.
Right. and this is not about against any type of immigration, right?
No.
This is about illegal migration.
Yeah.
You know, and but there's a sister back in the Clinton administration. Her name was Barbara Jordan.
I remember that name.
And she was a civil rights activist, but she was over the immigration policy. And one great thing about social media and YouTube and all that, you could find speeches, you know,
Yeah.
people, you know, and I found her speech, and she warned, she was for legal immigration.
Yeah.
But she warned, this is under Bill Clinton, she warned what would happen for illegal migration if it's unchecked.
Yeah.
He warned about that, you know, and it's just like, okay, what happened to the Democratic Party that was under Bill Clinton? Right? Because
that's another topic.
exactly, brother. It's insane. It's really insane, you know. And I don't know how New York is going to bounce back. But we always know the pendulum, it comes back. But if it swings back, will it be too late?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Like here in Harlem, especially Harlem, right? We face the fact that the cost of living is increased dramatically, expeditiously. Like apartments one bedrooms went from anywhere from 12 to 1,500 to now 2,000 to 3,000
for one bedroom.
For one bedroom, and the problems persist because, you know, all this took place literally during COVID. A lot of people don't realize this here, but Tish James has refused, you know, to litigate why it took place. You know what I mean? Like you see me post it a lot. Texas and Georgia, they sued the real estate because they was using a system where they was literally undermining how they was renting spaces, renting apartments. You know what I mean? Like I brought to attention of one city council member, right? You know, I ain't afraid to say her name. You know, I told Diana Ayala, right? I said, listen, y'all got a new building that's built and it's supposed to be affordable, right? They are renting rooms in that apartment, in those apartments. 2-bedroom apartments, one room is going for $1,800, the other one's going for $1,600.
Wow.
I said, listen, they can't do that because they're not explaining to y'all what they're getting for you know, why they getting the money they're getting for the apartment. They're just saying this is what we get for the apartment. They're not saying they're renting the rooms.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this here is how the market value gets set. And nobody wanted to do anything about it. I was like, y'all in their pockets. That's why you ain't saying nothing. You want to price everybody out.
Yeah.
You know who got an apartment in that building? From what I was told, SBI. SBI.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So now, even now, we're gonna stick on housing, right? Are they still like? Is it still unsafe conditions? Are the landlords slacking? Is it like the landlord pushing back on policies? You know, like is it just total confusion? You know, in keeping housing, you know, safe for the renters.
Well, you gotta remember this here, right? The real estate developers is what control both the city council as well as, you know, that mayor position. You know, they have a lot of say. Some of these apartments, you can count, you can go on HPD site, housing preservation site, that's supposed to, you know, keep a track record and enforcement. And you can see the number of reports that's been, you know, consistently reported. And you see, not only are they not doing their job, but residents is still complaining.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the services that they're supposed to receive, they're not getting it, and rent is skyrocketing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a problem, especially within NYCHA. NYCHA, you know, we still have families that need, like when I say they need repairs, they need repairs.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
it's not just a system that's just broken. Like it's you know, like, because I've been hearing stories about NYCHA for years, right? And every mayor that comes in, I haven't seen like real improvement in the actual system. I've seen some people go to jail,
Yeah.
right? I seen it, right? So we know the money is there when the money is mishandled, but has any elected official like try to put a thumb on the problem
Not at all.
to actually fix it?
Not at all. You got to keep this in mind, right? Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? The state took a $10 billion surplus for Niger and never returned it. I mean, and this is one of the reasons why public housing throughout the nation it was used for, for their personal, meal ticket, but nothing was translating back to the people. This is one of the reasons why they now implemented RAG. You know what I mean? And New York is the last stop on RAG. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like the last stop. Like public housing, as you know it, it about to get a rude awakening.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the state's trying to get out of the housing business.
Yeah, state and city.
Yeah.
This is the last state where it's been implemented.
Yeah.
Throughout the country.
Yeah. What? So what about? I mean, the new education guy. They're praising him.
You talking about the new chancellor?
Yeah, the new chancellor. The last chancellor, I don't know, man. Like that was, but that.
Yeah. Let me say this here. The only real chancellor that I've respected, you know what I mean, that came in and wanted to do something was Richard Carranza.
Really?
Right? Richard Carranza, he came from Texas via California, right? We worked on segregating the schools, right? We was pushing for legislation and everything for it on a federal level because, you got loopholes that create a disparity in funding.
Okay.
Where white kids get more than black kids. So when it comes down to these funding disparities, that's where the teachers end up at. They always go into high risk communities.
Right.
And I'll be laughing because like people be like, oh, it's according to taxes. I said, well, that's not accurate because we know in the black community we don't own, we rent. So it can't be according to taxes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Can you make that make sense?
Exactly.
So, Rich Carranza, he was trying to do something and he was frustrated because, de Blasio, he was getting pressure from the teachers union. Then you had the civil rights activists, the Sharptons and NAACP. They said, oh no, we're going to push to desegregate the specialized schools, right? Because black kids can't get into specialized schools. And I was like, well, last I remember, you had to take a test to get into specialized schools.
Okay.
So if you can't pass the test to get into the schools, how you expect them to graduate?
You ain't gonna get right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, I mean, it's crazy.
Exactly. Do you see any prominence from this guy that they just put in? Or
I know him.
Oh, you know him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met him one time when we was dealing with a school that was actually being truncated.
Right.
So, with him, it's like he can say what he want to say, but the reality is he for the teachers union. You know what I mean? He gonna do what they say, and that's gonna be it.
I was when I was in corrections, right? So you in unions and everything like that. I was supportive of teachers unions, right? No. And now that I retired and dealing with my granddaughters and their education and with their parents and studying, and I'm going to keep it to Westchester. The best schools are the union-free schools.
Oh, listen.
The best schools are the union-free schools.
Listen, and down here it's charter schools.
Right.
So you will literally have the unions stress to the parents how all these charter schools is taking space from your children, this and that, and parents will believe that without actually doing their due diligence.
Right.
That's the hard part, to expand or put imprint on their minds of these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I say people, I mean, our people, within the communities. You have to literally understand that when it comes down to education, we not guaranteed the education that whites are educated.
No, we're not.
You know what I mean? And that hurts us more because you got to keep in mind, generations have been through these systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they rely on a teacher to continue to teach something that's not really, that's going to bring forth anything tangible.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. My youngest grand, she goes to a private school.
Yeah.
My oldest grand, they moved further up north in the white community.
Yeah.
And she goes to that school. The only thing, the drawback on that is not a lot of black kids in the school system, and she has to deal, she's
With being
very
only
smart,
black.
right? She's on the honor roll, right?
Yeah.
She ain't no small girl neither, right? So for her age, she ain't no small girl. So, she's dealing with, she have everything, her parents work, I work, we make sure, she got
Make sure the education is right. Yeah.
education right. She come with the she come with the Nikes and the pink AirPod. You get everything that a teenager is supposed to get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You lace her out, right?
Yeah.
And they get jealous.
You're supposed to.
You know what I'm saying? And
You're
then
supposed to.
and then the racist stuff come out, right?
Yeah.
So, I was telling her mother, I was like, yo, you gotta deal with that. That all that comes in when you're moving in that area, that type of area, and you're dealing with that. But it's also we're not taking care of our business when we're on the school boards,
Right.
and we're not doing. I always use Mount Vernon as an example. Come on, it's an all black school board. It's how are you not educating the kids? How are the kids not being able to comprehend and read? There's no white man to blame.
You know what's crazy? When I was coming up, like in the 70s, 80s, like Mount Vernon was like the place where all blacks would move to. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that was middle class, they were moving for a better life.
Exactly. Exactly. And but see, like you said, the developers, the realtors, they control the politicians, man.
Yeah.
And they turn, Mount Vernon from the city of homes, because that's what it used to be called, to the city of low income housing.
Yeah.
And they moved the people. My man Andre, who he was the mayor when Richard Thomas for those 3 months that he was mayor, he sued de Blasio because they were low income housing that they filled with people from the 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
So the people in Mount Vernon didn't even have a chance. They didn't even have a chance to get housing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the politics, and I wanted to jump into that question because you created the Urban Nonpartisan Club. Now, do you believe? And I already know the answer, but we got to ask it. Do you believe that party politics is helping or hurting the black community right now?
It's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
It's hurting. If I've always said this, if we not transacting with our votes, making them earn our votes, then we just doing what Jesse Jackson said: keep hope alive. How long we gonna keep hoping?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? How long we gonna keep hoping?
Exactly,
it don't
man.
make sense.
Exactly. And how is that organization working? Is it working with one side? Is it working in the middle? Because right now, I can't get a Republican on the show. They don't want to talk. They don't want to say anything. It's like they just giving up in New York to even address the issues.
Well, let me say this: when you deal with the Republican Party, especially when it comes down to the black community, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of them is not going to come out because they don't think they got a chance to win.
True.
Right. And when it comes down to Democrats, majority of them is just going to say, "Oh, we already got the vote."
Exactly.
Because in New York, it's like
Exactly.
19 out of like majority of New York is Democrats. I
Right.
think like 12 and a half million is Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Only a small percentage is Republicans, and then the rest is scattered about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But I think I blame that on the Republicans. Because when
Oh, of course.
when I started corrections in 1990, it was a balance.
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat,
Yeah.
right? It was a clear balance. Then all of a sudden, it's like, the Republicans, Mike Spallon used to be a Republican. He switched over.
Yeah.
Janet
DeFeo?
DeFeo. Yeah, she was a Republican. She switched over.
Yeah.
So they started, and the trick here in Westchester, the husband might be a Republican and the wife is a Democrat, right? Black people, we don't do that, right? Yeah. And they throw fundraisers for both candidates in their house. They don't have they're not arguing about it, right? Because it's about power. Whoever wins, we still win, baby.
We still benefit
win.
from it. We still benefit from it.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest part to more or less translate to our communities.
Exactly.
Like we get some that's frustrated from voting, right? That'll join,
Right.
but the rest is like, yo, you bugging. Like I've been called a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Oh man, I get called a Trump supporter all the time.
I said, where did you see me say that I support him at? What's wrong with you? Like, I don't get it. No, you just sound like, I said, common sense sounds like somebody, like, nah, follow what's going on here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I get that too, man. And some of them got real disrespectful. I had to be like, yo, bro, don't you forgetting I got paid to knock niggas out for 30 years. Right? Look, you really bugging out right now, right?
Trust me, I've been down that road with a lot of these knuckleheads. I said, yo, don't let the press conferences and me running for office fool you.
Exactly. 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 And this, I think that's one of the problems with the Black community, man. Like, and then we cancel like bro, I really felt bad for Chile, right? Like they really out to just destroy her, because allegedly, because nobody has produced her voting rolls. Nobody has produced a donation sheet that she actually donated to a Republican, not to MAGA, but to a Republican candidate.
Yeah.
And if she did, so what? And that's exactly.
So look, I don't want to offend like people that's religious, right? But they mad with her, but they not mad with John Legend, Spike Lee, the Clips, Pharrell for going over there to the Vatican because allegedly a black pope came in their position, but they responsible for the enslavement of blacks. The decree of 1455 says it clearly: all blacks should be in perpetual enslavement, and they've never rescinded that, never. So it's still in effect.
Exactly.
So when people talk about reparations, I'm like, do you understand where reparations really got to come from?
No,
if everybody's following the law.
Exactly. And that's another thing, man. Like we dropped the ball. I was on my thread. Like we dropped the ball on reparations, and and I told people we couldn't get it under Obama. It's a wrap. That was the main thing he was supposed to do when he got in there. Nothing else. I wouldn't care if he did anything else.
Look,
He's supposed to make sure we got reparations.
Look, my grandmother nephew, he worked on Clinton's campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
They from Chicago. So, he said, yo, man, like, I like him, but he's not going to do what he's supposed to do.
Wow.
Right? They said he doesn't do what he's supposed to do as a senator. So don't expect enough from as a president. And I was like, huh? But at the time, my grandma was like, he don't know what he's talking about. He just talking. I said, nah, he making sense. That's your nephew. How you gonna get upset with him? We should see a black president. I said, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but this is what he's saying.
Right.
He live out there with him. That's your sister's son. He's telling you he ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. And they're
We
like,
got,
oh, well, he got health care. I said, we would have got reparations. We wouldn't have gave a damn about health care.
but look, you know the crazy thing about everybody always talk about healthcare, right? They
Right.
don't know that it was a senator from Nevada that brought, the bill to Charles Reagan. We said, listen, your people benefit from this.
Mm,
More people benefit from the Affordable Care Act that's poor whites than blacks.
exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
what it was basically for. It was for the poor whites of Nevada.
Right. Right. And now, you seeing, because I know working people that was independent workers, like they did on the like my cousin, yo, he hates the Affordable Care Act because
Yeah.
the money that he has to spend. And
Yeah.
then when Trump said, yo, let's just give the money to the people and make it an open market. Everybody got silent on that.
Yeah.
He said, let's instead of giving the money to the insurance companies, because people have shown that the insurance companies got rich
Yeah.
while we're still paying high premiums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Trump was like, yo, instead of giving the money to the insurance, let's give it to the people, open market. They could buy whatever insurance they want to
Yeah.
do. Republicans or Democrats in the House or the Senate ain't even talking about that no more. Because they all on the health, they all on the payroll.
Yeah. I remember when they was talking about doing it, right? I was trying to get my insurance license. They
Right.
said, yo, you better get your insurance license quick because, the United States is getting into healthcare. I'm like, huh? What? Huh? God damn, as soon as I found a hustle, they just coming in on this. What's going on?
Exactly. yo, it's let me tell you something, man. With Eric, I remember it was 1990, I think, for the National Black Police Association at a conference in Atlanta. Now, Eric was he was one of the first people that said, hey man, we could flip this activism as we do as black law enforcement and run for office.
Yeah.
We was like, everybody was like, get out of here. He did it, right? Yeah. He did it. I ain't mad at him. He did it. But then when he got mayor, like, I don't know what happened, bro. Like, I just don't know what happened, and I'm open about it. I still love him. When I saw that Ingrid wasn't one of the deputy mayors, I was like, something's wrong. Because Ingrid held him down from the beginning.
She's a special assistant.
Yeah, exactly. From when he ran for Senate all the way to Book and Barrel president. That was my go-to person in the office, right?
Look. Remember I told you about what I said to him?
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, huh? What? So, okay.
Exactly.
See the fallout behind it, right?
Yeah. Look all this, man. And it's like, yo, I mean, he had a chance. And there's another thing that held Eric down, and I'm not afraid to say it. The state Democratic Party, they don't want masculine black men. I'm going to keep it 100.
Look, you got to remember, they chased him out of Albany. They said his arrogance.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what, that's arrogance was his own worst enemy. It was his arrogance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
We know that because we
exactly.
know.
Exactly.
But a lot of people that look at it be like, huh? What? Like, nah, you got to understand, like, sometimes he got to know when and when not to be. He just hasn't learned that. He just
right.
Man, let me release my swag.
Exactly. But we need more like Eric, but not as at that level right. 10. We need like an Eric level 2, right? And but the Democratic Party doesn't want strong black men.
No, not at all. You can see that within
exactly.
You see that within the leadership, within the counties, as well as
exactly.
assembly.
And I'm not knocking the black men that are there.
No.
But I just know me or you, they try to put me in, man, they try to put me in jail. Democrats probably try to put me in jail when I ran for city council.
Yeah.
I said, y'all can have that.
Yeah.
I'm not spending 30, 40, 50, 60,000 in lawyers' fees just to be innocent. No, y'all, I'm good. I'm gonna stay over here, work this overtime and get my pension. I'm good. I'm
Look,
good.
If you ain't one of those, how can I be this, sir? What you want me to do, sir? Not a chance in the world.
Exactly, brother.
Not a chance in the world.
Let me we getting to the end, man. If what does accountability look like for elected officials in the Harlem community? And why don't we see it?
Well, first, there has to be transparency, right? And we got a situation here in Harlem where literally there is no transparency. We got a city council that we believed in, from the beginning, that turned out to be not, so visible. Like he was doing like a lot of deals behind the backs of the residents. That wasn't helpful. I think when a lot of these guys get in these offices, they stop, reaching out to the community. You know what I mean? They stop being transparent with the community. And they do that, and the community looks at it like, damn, if we're not willing to hold them accountable, where you started on the soapbox, you're going to continue on the soapbox with us, then it's not going to be there. Because nobody's coming back to the community explaining what this bill is, what's being proposed, and how would you feel about this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And if you don't have a candidate that's willing to do that, then it's not gonna work. Right. Accountability means you're gonna be straight transparent with everything that's going on.
Exactly.
Even if you put something there that's supposed to be for us, and one of your associates in the party goes against it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he going against this, we need to get him out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Put somebody there that's gonna be. That's what we missing.
Right. Right.
That's what we missing.
Right.
We'll make excuses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, but what can he do? No, he could come back and let you know, yo, this
exactly.
He ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. Yo, get him out of it.
Let me tell you something. One thing that we learned about Trump, that a president can do whatever the hell he want to do.
Yeah.
Listen, whether they could claim it's bad, but one thing, and I tell people, how are you gonna get mad? You know why the Republicans and MAGA still support him 100%? Because he went in there and did what he said he was going to do. Period.
Yeah, he bullied his way in and told him, yo, if you ain't gonna get in line, you're gonna get out of line.
Exactly. He started executive orders, promises made, promises kept. Whether it amounted to law or whatever, you can't say he didn't say what he was going to do. Everybody's like, Iran. He said he was going to bomb the shit out of Iran.
Let me tell you something. Kamala Harris was talking about Iran.
Listen,
and
Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And I told people, if Kamala Harris was there, she would have went to war because the whole relationship with Israel. If she allowed all those hundreds of thousands of people to be killed in Palestine, how are you going to tell me she wasn't going to go to war, for Netanyahu against Iraq? Come on, man. Like we just can't be lying to ourselves.
A lot of people don't even understand the history and the relationship between that region.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, they was placed there for one purpose, to protect the interests of the Anglo-Saxons.
Exactly.
People don't even understand that.
Exactly. Exactly, brother. Exactly. And my last question, man, because I don't want to keep you, man. What is the truth about Harlem and other Black communities in New York City that people don't want to say out loud, but it needs to be addressed.
The truth, we being
Yeah.
sold out. Our leaders is getting paid for selling us out, and pretty soon we're gonna be displaced. I mean, that's the truth. I'd be lying if I said
brother.
it. Like,
I asked for the truth, man.
Yeah, I'd be fake if I said anything else.
Wow, man. Wow. Well, we got to keep fighting, man. And whatever you need, man, I'm here, man.
I
You know,
appreciate
whatever I can do, you know, from Westchester, man, you know, I can do. And we here. We just trying to give voices, man. We just trying to let people make better choices, man.
I thought we'd have had a black governor, but you know, he sold out.
Yeah. Yo, the system hard, man. The system, the Republican, everybody's selling out, man. I'm working on this article how the Republicans are sold out. You know, and then I called some people, you know, in the circles, and it was like they did it last time too. I was like, damn.
If people don't put the pressure to make it competitive, you know what I mean, like a competitive market, we don't.
No, exactly. You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, you know, more people are leaving New York. My next door neighbor sold, she sold hers for almost 500 grand. She bounced, right? And me and my wife is talking about it because it's just getting too expensive. Like, they're not following the trend, and especially with AI. Yo, once AI gets where they want it to be, when you have to have an agent in every household and all that, nobody's going to want to live in New York because they don't have no nuclear power plants. And dude, people are going to leave.
Yeah.
People are going to leave. But
believe it or not,
what can you do?
3 weeks ago, I started considering moving. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
I literally considered, like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah, I've been telling my wife, man, she retired this June, and you know, she got the cupcake business. I said, look, you got 5 years to bounce off that, babe. You know, she got her little apprentice that she getting her ready because she's gonna be like, listen, I'm gonna leave this to you. Yeah. You know, and I said, because once we both retire, we're both on a fixed income. You know,
you got to make it last.
You got to make it last. You know, and you look at Houston, you look at Dallas, and especially Texas, or even Florida, where they talking about getting rid of property taxes. Like, come on, man, I could sell this house.
It's looking really enticing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm telling people, don't be surprised if the stock exchange go to Dallas, because they're already building the Texas stock exchange.
Yeah. Chase
already went down there. Wells Fargo already went down there. And I'm like, everybody, it won't happen. Dude, it's all about money, man. Like they not about feelings, oh, we in New York and all that. No, they following the dollar sign.
And that's something that nobody really considers. They don't look at the common sense of it. It has to make sense.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be sitting up here talking about, oh, but I feel, you know, that this, knowing damn well that's not it.
Exactly.
I be sounding like a fool.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. Listen, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach me at Alpheaus Marcus at A.M.X Consultant. Email. I don't know about giving out my phone numbers. I get 1,000, but the number's on the site. The number's on the website, so they can just go to A.M.X Consultants and reach out to me.
All right, I'm going to do that again because my uncle keep calling me, and I keep telling the Negro. And I'm like, yo, can I call you later? Can I call you later? Hold on a second, man. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can reach me at A.M.X Consultants. Alpheaus Marcus at A.M.X Consultants, or they can go to the website literally and get my number.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool, man. Brother, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Man, thank you for having me, man.
Thank you. And anytime you want to come on, you got an issue, you got something going on in Harlem, let me know, brother, and let's do this again. All right? Thank you, beloved. Have a blessed day. And that's it, y'all. That's the Publisher's Desk, and I'm Damon K. Jones, the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine, and this is powered by blackwestchester.com. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please leave comments, whatever you think. Share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel. We're just trying to give you the news with the Black point of view. Black Westchester Magazine and blackwestchester.com. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay blacktastic. Peace out.
Black Westchester's New Spring 2026 e-paper is now available, featuring the life and legacy of Bob Law, breaking news, and stories that matter to our community. Read it now at blackwestchester.com. We appreciate you taking the time to engage with real conversations, real issues, and real perspectives that matter to Black America. Stay connected, stay informed, and as always, we'll see you next time at the Publisher's Desk. It's going to be Blacktastic. If you're serious about political clarity and independent thinking, this is for you. The Political Thought Bundle includes 3 full books, all personally singling. Democrats and Republicans, the Ultimate Gangbangers, breaks down how the two-party system operates like a legalized street war for power. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure exposes how emotion has replaced strategy in Black political engagement. Tolerance is for Coward lays out a blueprint for extended policing and community-led public safety rooted in outcomes rather than slogans. 3 signed books. 1 bundle, $60. That's a $75 value, and you're getting signed copies included. This isn't left versus right. It's results versus rhetoric. Go to twosteppublishing.com and secure your signed Political Thought Bundle today. It's going to be Blacktastic. For more than a century, Black America built its own economy under segregation, under discrimination, and under conditions most people today cannot imagine. We built businesses, we built banks, we bought land and property. In The Forgotten Blueprint, Damon K. Jones reveals how Black communities created thriving economic systems from 1800 to 1965, and why that blueprint still matters today. This book challenges the idea that our future depends on politics alone, and shows how ownership, family, and enterprise once powered Black prosperity. The blueprint is not lost. We just stopped using it. The Forgotten Blueprint, how Black America built its own economy from 1800 to 1965. On sale now at Two Step Publishing and Amazon. Black Westchester Magazine has been giving our community a voice, reporting the stories others ignore, holding power accountable, and making sure the truth about our communities is told by us. But independent Black media only survives when the community supports it. If you believe in real journalism, community accountability, and keeping Black voices strong in local news, we need your help. Your donation helps us continue covering the stories that matter: politics, education, justice, and economic empowerment right here in Westchester. Support Black media, support Black truth, support Black Westchester Magazine. Donate today and help keep Black media alive. Because Black-owned independent media is Blacktastic. Black Westchester Magazine presents People Before Politics, the Sunday Rundown, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Join Damon K. Jones, A.J. Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as they break down the biggest stories in politics, culture, and community from a Black point of view. No spin, no party loyalty, just logic, accountability, and outcomes. If it impacts Black America, we're talking about it. Tap in, subscribe, set your reminder. This Sunday at 6 p.m. is going to be Blacktastic.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.